harassment. It does. Good.
So, here we are again. Right? Hey, Roma.
I think today's June 6th.
It is June 6th. I'm glad you brought that up because, you know, me and dates, sometimes I tend to struggle just a little bit.
Well,
You know, like your birthday's coming up.
well, my birthday is coming up, but more important than that, you know, this podcast is strongly, the foundation is strong on the military, so of course June 6th has a great significance.
We have D-Day.
That's the significance.
And probably a lot of our viewers don't know this, but what does the D stand for?
Barry and Billy demolition.
Well, that was close, but not
Thanks.
really.
Destruction.
So the D stands for day.
D-Day. So it's redundant.
It is.
D-Day.
Day, yeah.
Day.
Yeah.
I had a friend called Day.
Yeah.
He was a good kid.
Well, let's cut to the chase right
Okay.
now. Let's get off D-Day.
All right.
I want to address something, and
Just so you know, Doc looks at both of us and just goes,
yeah,
"Guys-
something
guys
wrong
are
with these
fucked
guys,
up."
but we know that.
All right, go ahead.
We know that.
Go ahead.
So you know, there's a big thing when the election the last presidential election was going on. And there was talk about bringing people together, and we got to stop with this racism and all that other stuff, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, so, you know, we have Caitlin Clark playing basketball now.
Correct.
She set a lot of records with Iowa. And there was Cheryl Swoops, Janelle Hill.
Right.
These are two girls who had a lot to say.
Right.
And in saying that,
Yeah.
they threw out, ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
In quotation marks,
Go ahead.
a lot of facts.
Facts.
Well, there's the question. That's the big question mark right there.
Okay.
Were they really facts? Well, I looked into it, and that wasn't the case at all. So they accused her of playing for 5 years, which wasn't true, for Iowa. They accused her of playing more games. Now, she's broken all these records, assist records, and scoring more points than anybody else. So they accused her of playing more games. They accused her of taking more shots per game. And then it was debunked. Now, mind you, I'm trying to stay off the racial thing, but, you know, it's very difficult because these two young ladies are black. Caitlin Clark is a white girl.
Right.
And they spewed a bunch of lies about her. And the gentleman who debunked these two women was also a black gentleman.
Yeah.
And he said that is not the case. She did not play 5 years. She did not take more shots per game.
Right.
Okay? She actually took less shots per game, scored more points than everybody else, and assists and so on, and set all these records. So my question to Cheryl Swoops and Janelle Hill is this. I know this is kind of like a comment for men, but I'm going to throw it out to you because it is Pride Month, right? Okay. What is your heart on with Caitlin Clark? What is it? Is it the skin? Because I'm a white man. He's a white man. All right? So what is it really? Because she broke all these records. She's one hell of a player. She's on a team that I think finally won their first game a few nights back. And she's still loading up points in the WNBA. People are pushing on her, other players. And you all think it's cool, which it's not. All right? I think one of the greatest basketball players, male basketball players, is Michael Jordan, bar none. Okay? It is what it is with him. He went out there, he wanted that ball. He begged for that ball because he was a player. He wasn't a choke artist. He was a player. And he won games. This girl is that. She wants the ball. Stop hating. You want to come on this podcast? Be more than happy to debunk all your horse shit that you've been spewing out of your mouths about this young lady. So cut the bullshit. Sit back in your seats and at least show a little appreciation for a white girl who can bring the game. Pure and natural. That being said, you two could go piss off somewhere. There's your Pride Month. That's what I give you for your Pride Month. Now let's go to something that's sad. And Aaron Pelletier, state trooper, who was hit and killed by a hit-and-run driver while doing a traffic stop on the highway. Big memorial for him. And
two little kids.
2 kids, wife and 2 kids. And our hearts go out to him. I know that there's a fund set up for him, and I hope that everybody gets over there. And
I have to assume, as we were watching the news, that it hit 402,000. That their goal was 500,000, and I have to guess that even as of today, they probably hit that.
They haven't gotten the hit and run guy yet. They have not, to my knowledge. They haven't.
Well, here's the thing. I always tell this story. I have a friend. I won't mention his name. But he was on the other side of East Haven, and he ran somebody over and he killed him. And he stopped and he went, "Oh my God, I ran somebody over and killed him," and dialed 911. And the police came. And the police officer, my friend shaking, going, I killed somebody. And he's like, "She's not in a crosswalk. She's in the middle of what's called a highway, even though it's a main road. It's Route 80. It's considered, it's technically a highway. She has dark clothes on. It's 11 o'clock at night. There's no lighting in this area. Just to answer my questions, we'll fill out a report, and basically it was, don't worry about it. You know what I mean? So, but again, being in the business I'm in and having the education that I have, I've been with a personal injury law firm for 29 years. So there is such a thing called a pedestrian misuse of a highway. So if you're crossing the street in anywhere but a crosswalk, you're misusing a highway. Or in the old days, as they called it, jaywalking.
Yeah.
So it can't be all the driver all the time. I almost hit somebody a half an hour ago getting a coffee. I was at the stop sign up the street. The car passed on the right that had the stop sign. I let him go. After he left, obviously I started my left-hand turn, and a kid in a scooter just came buzzing right by me. And at that, he turned around and put his hand out at me. I'm like, "Kid, you blew a stop sign."
Right.
You know what I mean? He went right through it. So, in this case, there's a law that if the police have somebody pulled over on the shoulder of the highway, you have to move over to the middle lane. Here's the thing, and it comes down to those 2 women that you were talking about before. You see, at a very young age, without me knowing it,
can you fix the cameraman, before I come down there and slap the shit out of you?
I learned not to see color. I didn't know what color was. Because I lived in the projects in Stanford, and my father's best friends and my brothers was the Meadows family. And we would all go fishing.
Roma!
The father, his 2 sons, me, my brothers, we'd go fishing, we'd laugh till we cried.
Hey, Roma!
You know what I mean? We did things together, we did picnics together. So they were just people to me. And to this day...
Yeah, but we were brought up in a different age.
Right.
Era.
At this day, on the precipice of 15 days away at 58 years old, I look at people. People make me laugh when they go, "Hey, would you marry a black woman?" Yeah, I would. Yeah, like in a second. Bring me one to fall in love with me, please.
Listen, everybody, just, I'm going to cut him off, but if you know any black women that are deaf, dumb, and blind, he's looking for one.
So, you know, whether you're black, white, pink, brown, whatever,
Yellow, green,
whatever ability God gave you is the gift that He gave you, no matter what color the skin you are. If you're a great basketball player, great. If you're Bo Jackson, great. You know, if you're Mickey Mantle, great. You know, they did the same thing to two white guys. Babe Ruth hit 60 home runs in 154 games. Roger Maris hit 61 in 162, and they put an asterisk by his name. Even though he broke the record, single season record, they put that little star there because he did it in 162 and Ruth did it in 154.
Right.
You know, so everybody's always got something to pick on when it comes to
Yeah, but
sports
see,
records.
those are pure facts, right? They're spewing out.
They're spewing out
false
lies.
information.
Yeah, they're spewing out lies. But
And just to start trouble, and I just don't understand why.
well, here's the thing between you and I, and hopefully the majority of the public. You have a young man with a wife and two kids who decided at a young age, you know what? I'm going to serve the public. I want to become a state police officer. I want to serve the community. You know,
Serve and protect.
serve and protect. I want to excel at my job. Maybe become a member of the task force, narcotics, whatever it be. Make a career out of serving the community, and somebody comes and hits him and kills him, and doesn't have the balls to say, "Listen, I had an accident, and I killed the police officer doing it, and you know what? I was looking down at my phone. I was drunk, whatever. You know what? Dish out the punishment I got coming because I should have known better." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Instead, you have a bad person that kills a police officer that when it's 2 degrees out and somebody's car dies and it's 3 o'clock in the morning and there's nobody there to help them, he's the one that's going to help them. You know, somebody's a victim of road rage and they're scared and they dial 911, he's going to come there and protect them. He's now gone. And it was a senseless death. That's the sickening part of the guy didn't have to die. And that's the sickening part of it. And now you have a single mother with two very small children, from what I saw, under 7 years old, that are going to grow up without a father. And don't forget the woman, and I hate to admit that I have a lot of experience with this, unfortunately. If somebody is snatched from your life, it's going to take her 10 times longer, years. She's going to be alone with herself for years, rather than having a marriage, having problems. There's infidelity, or there's alcoholism, or there's continued fighting. There's a divorce. You get over the divorce and you find somebody else. That's a natural process. You can fall in love again. When you're in the middle of a good marriage, a functional marriage, and you're in love every day of your life, and that person is snatched from you, that's just devastating.
Yeah. Agree.
Terrible.
It's a bad day.
It's the worst day of her life. And plus, she's got these two kids that she's got to raise herself. Hopefully her parents are alive. Or on either side, one of the grandfathers can step in, because she's going to be raising them without a male figure. And they go, Mario, don't be naive. There's millions of single mothers out there raising their kids without a father. I get it. But this is a special situation where I'm sure
we didn't ask
for it, and I'm sure the both of them were very happy together and intended to raise their kids together.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, you know, she's in a bad way. Listen, they raised $500,000. They could raise $1 million. They could raise $5 million. It's not going to bring them back, and money's not going to make it better. No. It's going to give them security, but it's not going to bring them back, and it's not going to make it better.
No.
So, you know, money never makes anything better, ever.
Well said.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I want to ask our producers a question. If we have any questions going on, just let us know. We'll hit some of them now, and then we'll come back over the top towards the end.
Well, yeah, if they start rolling, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so throw a couple at us. Then we're going to hit our next topic. Oh boy.
Yeah, I'll start with the fun ones to lighten it a little bit. Speaking of love, referencing your love for love.
Here we go. Speaking of love,
How bad were the rats in Brantford?
how bad were the rats in Brantford?
I never experienced a rat in Brantford. Brantford, Ontario, or Brantford, Connecticut? There were a lot in Brantford, Ontario. Listen, let me tell you a story.
Strap yourself in.
There was
Here we
I was 18. There was the sweetest, kindest girl that hung around with two other girls that Gino Carabello and I latched onto. She was the sweetest girl, and she was so innocent. And before I would go into the arena, we would sit in the rental with them, and we would hug and kiss and talk and everything. Very, very innocent. And for about 5 months, this went on. The same girl, never brought her back to a hotel, never. She was just the sweetest, prettiest girl. And my heart just beat so much for her. And then we went to the TV taping the next time, and I said, "Hey, where is she?" And she joined a convent.
I joined a convent too if you were my boyfriend, but anyway.
Became a nun. So I went, wow. I really must
See the
have.
effect you had on people?
I really must have an impression on her.
I'm thinking of becoming a priest.
Don't listen to them, Nydia. Don't listen to them.
What else you got?
For Mr. Roma, what inspired you to do the top rope sunset flip back in 1987?
What inspired me to do the top rope sunset flip back in '87? I didn't see anybody doing anything like that. So I decided to just launch myself off the top. I had height, I had distance, so I figured I could do it better than anybody else. So I tried it. It worked out.
Second, have you seen the last AEW pay-per-view? FTR performed the Powerplex, and Tony Schiavone directly referenced Power and Glory.
So the last AEW, they tried to pull off the Power and Glory Powerplex, to no avail, obviously. But it is a nice tribute to Power and Glory, that our finish has never been duplicated, at least not to that perfection. So, hey, kudos to them. Thank you for that. But yes, I saw it, and obviously it's the first thing I thought of was Power and Glory.
Did you guys know Chief Jay's son? I think he wrestled as Mark Young, ... and he did great.
So did we know Chief Jay Strongbow's son, Mark?
Yes, I did very well. That's one of the reasons why I got out in '92. When Strongbow looked at me, because I was pitching a pitch, that they weren't doing anything with me. And when Strongbow looked at me and said, "I can't even get my own kid booked," I walked away. So I knew Mark. Mark was a nice kid. When he got out way before me. Chief came to me and asked if I would be able to get him a job, and I actually did in Atlanta, and he accelerated at it. Unfortunately, Mark's child, 2-year-old child, was it was with a babysitter, and the babysitter had an in-ground pool, and the toddler went into the pool without anybody knowing it.
Yeah.
The toddler passed away. Mark couldn't exactly live with himself with that, and Mark is no longer here. But as close as I was, I consider myself still am, because I talk to him every day. Chief Jay Strongbow for 28 years was my second dad. We spoke on the phone often, and I would never bring up Mark. Mark was still alive, by the way. He died after Jay Strongbow did. but I would never bring up Mark or the baby or anything like that because I knew Chief well enough to. What the hell am I going to have that conversation with him for? Nothing.
Where are you going to go with it?
Nowhere. Nothing good's going to come out of it. So
Yeah.
I just made believe. I just made believe I never heard what happened when I would talk to Chief. You know.
Right.
Last one for now. Have you guys been approached by promotion to act as trainers or advisors? For example, like AEW, TNA, or NWA, or even a startup promotion?
No, I'll tell you what. But Roma called Tony Khan directly. You think he'd call the guy back?
It's all
Because
good, man. He's a big deal.
let me tell you something.
Tony Khan's a big deal.
Let me tell you. I'm going to tell you guys something, right? All right. This is not a story. This is a true story. Okay. I own Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling with Roma. My job is to take care of the business, get venues, make sure the bills are paid. I'm right now yet to go up to a venue I've been waiting to get for 2 months, and I have to get up there this week. Excuse me. And Roma.
That would be the Cadillac Ranch.
That would be the
right?
Cadillac Ranch in Southington. Paul Roma, and toes are never to be stepped on. Paul Roma books and makes the storylines. Ladies and gentlemen, I can't tell you how many times Roma has been across a venue, and I've been on the other side, and I have been shocked and surprised at his storylines, and I look over to him, and his hands would be on his knees, laughing at me because I didn't see it coming. What he planned, I didn't see coming, you know. And the storylines he puts together. I'm going to give you an example. I'm going to give you an example of the mind of Roma. We had a tag team. That were dead ass on heels. Just dead ass on heels. Constantly. Just nothing but heels. Hated. Roma's going to turn them that night. So the tag team that went out first, set up, bumped into a kid, and spilled all of his popcorn. So he had one of the heels go to the concession stand, get the kid a fresh popcorn, and hand it to him. They were baby faces immediately before they even entered the ring. Phenomenal. Tony Khan, because he knows everything about pro wrestling. Everything. Hasn't called Paul Roma back. He's got to be insane. Because not only would that product be better, he'd save millions. Because I tell you something about Roma. Roma's like Joe Torre. Roma's like Aaron Boone. He's like any other coach. Best players play. And there's too many people in AEW who aren't the best players. And he would get rid of all of them. Sorry, you're done. Sorry, you're done. Sorry, you're done. Best players play. You know what I mean? So Tony Khan, I don't know what he's thinking, but I know he listened to that voicemail that Roma sent him, and I can't believe he didn't call him back. Another thing Tony Khan's not doing is scooping up Richard Holiday, which for the life of me, I can't figure out.
Yeah, that's again, you know, you have somebody who's a businessman and really doesn't fully understand the wrestling business.
He doesn't. Because Holiday would be bigger than MJF.
Yes.
Bigger.
Yes.
Way bigger.
Well, that could be the case. Maybe MJF is talking in Khan's ear and doesn't want him around. You just never know.
I don't know.
Right? I mean, it could be one of a few things.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I hope that answers their question. We'll take some more one more? All right, one more right now, and then we're going to go on.
Go ahead.
Mario, what's your recollection of your bout with King Kong Bundy at the Westchester County Civic Center? He actually bumped for you regarding
Wow.
I don't remember that night in 1999, Big Daddy.
That's a full lie.
I don't.
That's a flat out lie.
It's an inside joke with me and Big Daddy.
Yeah.
What happened that night is I didn't want to work that show, and then I found out I was going to be working with Bundy, and I went there, of course, elated to see him, big hug, tight hug. laughing our asses off, and he looked at me and he said, "Just move out of the way of that avalanche and just pin me. Just fall on top of me and pin me." I said, "I'm not doing that." He goes, "I have to pay you back for what you did for me in New York." He goes, "I have to pay you back, Mario. Just move. When I give you the avalanche, move and cover me." I said, "I'm not doing that." He goes, "Why do you have to be such a hard ass?" I said, "Listen, let's take away the friendship, Chris. Let's just get rid of the friendship. Mighty Mouse does not go over on King Kong psychology. Just the characters, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't, and I can't do it." And he said, "Fine." I said, "Good." So I knew I was getting the avalanche that night, right? So now intermission comes, and he comes back, and he's staring at me. And I go, "What?" He goes, "Well," I went out there in intermission. I go, "Yeah? I signed a lot of 8x10s. I said, "Good for you." "Yeah, well," I went, "I'm the heel. I'm the heel." Well, kind of made a lot of people laugh out there, which he went into stand-up comedy when he got out of wrestling. Because he was a funny son of a bitch. I go, "I'm the heel." Well, yeah. So I went out there. He was the baby face. I was the heel. I haven't worked in 7 years. I blew up. I gave him stiff clotheslines. When he took the bump on the third clothesline, he goes, "You cocksucker." Okay, then I dropped the elbow on him for a 2 count. He gave me the avalanche, and he dropped an elbow on me so hard. He goes, "There's your receipt." And that was it. That was a fantastic time. I wish I remembered more. For some reason,
Is that selective?
no, I mean, for some
43
reason,
years.
Roma,
43 years.
Roma, listen to
You
me.
could tell me what I said back, 43 years ago.
It's Big Daddy convincing me that it was even a separate show. I was thinking, because here's the deal. I walk into the dressing room. The first minute I walk into the dressing room, I see Chris, and I see Afa, and a couple other guys maybe I didn't know. And I went over, gave Afa a kiss on the cheek. He started walking like Tony Altomar. He started laughing. I sat with Chris. Then Bruno came in, and we sat with Bruno and talked for an hour. And I was really preoccupied. And I really didn't watch the show. I went out there when I had to go out there, and I went back in. I really didn't watch it. So there was another dressing room with Big Daddy and all these other guys. And Big Daddy, to this day, 25 years later, is still a little hurt that I supposedly kayfabed them.
Wow.
And I didn't.
I'm glad he never told me I caved.
I would never. Well, Fogg says the same thing. I did a match at Colonial Toyota in 1991, and I walked by him, and he poked out his pad and his pen, and he goes, "Hey, Mancini, can I have your autograph?" And to him, I glanced at him and walked by.
Yeah, but that's understandable.
You know what I mean?
Fog.
But
most people walk by Fog.
Which I don't believe, because I've signed every autograph that was asked of me. Which Nine Toe Entertainment would be upset. He lost all that money back in the '90s. But I don't remember that either. But it's. I wish I could go back to that night. I would have hunted down Big Daddy. I would have made sure I found every single person that was there, right down to the guys who put up the ring. I just stayed where I was, and I remember what I remember. That's all I can remember.
Okay. So let's get on to another topic.
What do you got, Roma?
This is big.
You're chock full.
Let me tell you something. This is monster.
Is it Donald J?
No.
Okay.
Has nothing to do with politics.
Okay.
Right? Nothing at all to do with politics.
Okay.
Now, I know our producers, and I use that term, our producers may start to lose their shit on this one. Where are we going with this? What this guy talking about? I think he may be doing drugs. He must have lost his mind. He is senility setting. I don't know what they're going to do.
Okay.
They may just stop the show right as soon as it starts. I don't know. But let me touch on this. Do you know? Now, everybody who's listening, I'm being very serious. Strap your asses into your chairs. World War II, World War I, the Revolution, Civil War, never happened.
It never happened?
It never happened. Okay? Pearl Harbor never happened.
Like 3,000.
I'm going to prove all this.
Like 3,000 troops died at Pearl Harbor.
No, never happened. Never.
Pearl Harbor never happened.
Never happened.
World War One never happened.
World War II never happened.
World War Two never.
Vietnam never happened.
Vietnam never happened.
I know Stephen Lee. I know you're ringing my phone right now. Yeah, that's you. I know it's you.
Well, Stephen,
I'm going to explain to you why. It never happened.
isn't that good news? Vietnam never happened.
Yeah.
You're
We have solid proof.
You're scaring me, Roma.
Solid proof.
You're scaring me.
Never happened.
I don't know if we could do this podcast anymore. You need medication.
Listen to me. I'm telling you right now. You know when Hitler killed all the Jews?
Yeah.
Never happened. Never happened.
That never happened.
Never happened.
The genocide never happened.
All those shoes, all the shoes they had stockpiled, all the clothes they had stockpiled, all the bones that people found.
The videos of the bulldozers
Never happened.
pushing hundreds and hundreds of
The video,
malnutritious bodies in a ditch.
The old videos of people getting shot in the head right in the ditch.
You ready?
That never happened.
That never happened.
Never happened.
So let me clarify something for the audience, because you said a lot of things never happened. So what you're stating is the Civil War, the Revolutionary War, World War I, World War II, the Vietnam War. All of this stuff never happened because some person is making a claim that the Holocaust never happened. Am I correct?
You are correct, sir.
So we need to focus on what idiot, what anti-Semitic
Well, there's a few idiots.
jerk off
Right.
said
Kind word. Ocasio.
the Holocaust never happened.
Believe.
Okay, so what is their evidence that the Holocaust never happened?
Well, it's just like when
Excuse
she said
me.
that something attacked the World Trade
That's
Center.
right. I'm here watching with
Something
you.
attacked the world.
Yeah,
Okay.
the World Trade Centers, you know.
Rome, I swear to God, I never ate that devil dog.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Millions and millions of people. Right now, you can go on YouTube, unfortunately,
Yeah.
or go on any social media and watch
Yes, you
those
can.
planes
yes, you can.
strike the
Yes, you
both towers.
And the planes that bombed Pearl Harbor, films of those ships, battleships, being blown up in the harbor. Correct?
And there's solid evidence, and there's 100% truth that the Holocaust happened. Hitler existed. Hitler wanted to eliminate a race.
Correct.
And who are these people saying it to them? Listen, I can understand people. If you're not a Christian, if you're agnostic, you're an atheist, if people, we can have a 6-hour conversation on whether Christ walked the earth or not, whether he existed, myself, I am a Christian, but there are a lot of people out there you can debate whether Jesus Christ was really Jesus. I get it.
Right.
I get it. And it's over 2,000 years ago, and how do you know? And the Bible was rewritten so many times, and
Indeed.
I get that. But we're talking about 1938
something like that, yeah.
to 1945.
Yeah.
We're talking about Adolf Hitler. We're talking about
Millions of Jews that
millions and millions
murdered.
of Jews that were murdered. Were in concentration camps. It was general
were
knowledge.
gassed,
They
burned
were
in ovens.
burned in ovens,
Right.
in a gas chamber. Everybody knows this history, So all of a sudden, with the modern trend going, i.e., let's take all the Columbus statues down. He was a tyrant, rapist, murderer. We're not going to look at him as the guy who discovered America. We're not going to do that. We're not going to honor this guy anymore. Yeah, I'm a little biased because I'm Italian. So it's like,
I'm a little biased.
right, yeah. So let's take which the guys in Worcester Square, the people live in Worcester Square where his statue was, right now have a case pending in court. They sued to get that statue back up. But he was a racist. He was a murderer, slave owner. A rapist, all this other stuff. I get it. This is something in history that happened. I mean, are we going to say slavery didn't happen?
It never happened. What's going on today is just that. They're changing history.
They want to.
They want to. Things never happened. They're going to tell you what happened. They're going to tell you this is what went on. So all the bones and the clothing, the shoes, the film, it doesn't matter to them. They're just going to drill into your head with social media, with the news, that it never happened. In another 50 years, our kids aren't going to know what happened. They're not teaching that history in school. None of this has happened. And these people in Washington, this is the narrative. This is what they're doing. None of this ever happened. It doesn't matter that you have film. It doesn't matter that you can prove it. They're disclaiming all of that. It's just a matter of time before your kids know nothing more about Pearl Harbor. Know nothing more about
in 100 years from now, when we're gone, it's just not gonna.
That's what they're trying to do. That's exactly what's going on. So you know what? I wanted to jump the gun. I wanted to tell everybody out here, none of this ever happened. Never happened.
Well,
stay in denial, because that's what they're doing. They're changing history. And all of you out there that sit back and let these assholes dictate to you, your children. I mean, look at the schools. Look what they're doing in the school systems today. Half of our kids, maybe more than half of our kids, they couldn't point out California on a map.
The only thing I could
Texas.
The only thing I could say,
where they live.
The only way I can defend this, the only way, and nobody's going to do it, but I encourage people with intelligence. If you haven't seen it already, there's a movie by George Orwell. There's a book by George Orwell called 1984, and they made a movie out of it. So if we let them get away with this, in 50 years, there's going to be an eye in the sky watching everything that you do. You're going to wear the same clothes, eat the same food, and if you talk bad against the government, do you know, I'm going to say this. I have friends all over the world. Literally all over the world. And I was talking to a friend yesterday, and he said, "Hey man, how you doing?" I said, "Good, brother, how you doing?" Good. He goes, "Man, this is Africa." He said, "The bank's on strike, Mario." I said, "Oh." Now I'm going to tell you what their salary is at the bank in Nigeria. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. They get paid monthly in Africa. It's $35 a month. That's the salary. $35 a month, which is a little over $1 a day. They work 8 hours a day. Do the math. So I said, well, I hope it works out for you. I hope you stand your ground, and I hope things change there, and you can make a decent living as people who keep up with current events. The highest food prices in the world are in Africa. A 10-pound bag of rice in Africa is $85. That same bag of rice in the United States is $18. Okay, so 2 hours later, he sent me a post with some sort of leader of the country, if not the leader or whoever it is. And it said, if you strike for one more day, you will go to prison if you don't go back to work. That doesn't happen here.
Right.
That doesn't happen here in the United States. And I'm telling you right now, if we keep going in the direction that we're going, it will.
Yep.
It will go that way. Your rights will be stripped from you. If you want to forget history, and let me tell you something, people, this is what I'm happy about. This is what I'm happy about. Let there be another pandemic. Let the country shut down again. Let there be something so horrible that just riddles the entire country and shut it down again. I'm going to tell you why, Roman.
Tell me why.
Because I haven't looked up the stat, but I would like to see, and this is where we're going to defeat this, brother. This is where it's going to be defeated. I would like to see the statistics prior to COVID of the public school systems compared to after COVID, how many kids did not go back to the public school system and stayed homeschooled. Because that's the only way you're going to defeat it. If you homeschool your kid and you choose and pick what that kid's going to learn, and you choose and pick what you're going to teach that kid, and you teach the kid about the wars, and you teach the kid about the Holocaust, and you teach the kid about Hitler, that's the only way you're going to defeat that.
Whew, baby. Well, listen, I agree. I'm glad I started this. I'm just trying to show, how insane these people are thinking. But that is where they're going with it. After time, you're just going to get rid of everything that happened prior to and learn nothing from it. It's brutal. It's absolutely brutal what's going on. Again, we are a couple people, and we're trying to reach out to everybody that's out there and let them know what's going on. But as history would have it, it's tend to repeat itself. And right now, it just seems like there's an abundance of ignorant people. How can they think that this is the way life should be? It is not the way life should be lived. We shouldn't have to live paycheck to paycheck. We shouldn't have to struggle to pay our bills, our rent. We shouldn't walk into a store and see this used to be the size, if you turn it sideways, of a cereal box for say not even $5, for $3.69, and now they give you a cereal box that's about this thick and it's over $5.
Yeah.
And this is what the acceptance is now. They're making the American people accept what they're doing, and it's wrong. People have to stand up and fight back, not sit back and be led by their noses. Be leaders. Stop being the sheep. I'm over it, man. I'm just so tired of it. It's going to be so nice to go down to Arlington and meet with with the Marines and be around people that get it. No?
Well, it's always easier when you're around like-minded people. I had the opportunity to talk to Seth today, and we just kind of get a phone call to get caught up, and he kind of took a deep breath because he really didn't know where I stood. And I had told him that I watched an hour and 36-minute interview with Donald Trump that Fox News did, and it's this week. When I watched it Tuesday, it was 4 days old. So they just recently did this interview, and I nearly broke down listening to this guy talk. And I said to Seth, I said, listen, and you know what? I can't talk about this stuff to my ex-wife because she's just so far over to the left, and and everybody has a right to believe what they believe in, and you know, vote for who they want to vote in and have their philosophies. But I think a little, I think a little differently. And I, you know, call me crazy, but I'm like, Seth said my exact words verbatim. Let's use Paul Roma. Paul Roma's 65 years old. He's a billionaire. Not a millionaire, he's a billionaire. And somebody comes up to him and goes, hey, and he's got a residence in Florida called Mar-a-Lago. And basically what it is a 365-day resort vacation property with servants on it and beautiful grounds, and it's just a vacation every day. And they come up to him and go, hey, how would you like to be the president of the United States? What do you think he's going to say? He's going to go, are you out of your mind? I'm done. I'm going to relax. I've got billions. What do I need that headache for?
Right.
Why would I take on that stress? Brother, I'm set for 5, 10 lifetimes. I don't need that. Why would I interrupt my life
All his children are successful.
to have bullshit like that? Why would I take that on? I already made my billions. I'm good. I don't need that. That's just a headache. Wouldn't that be the natural response? Not Donald Trump's. Why? Why? Why?
You want my answer?
Yeah.
Because I care about this country.
Second point Seth and I talked about.
It's not about, here's the difference. I hate to interrupt you. Here's the difference, okay? These politicians who get in, they are looking to become filthy rich. Right? I mean, in the Biden's family, it's such a proven fact. I mean, they are just getting money being paid to them, cutting deals hand over fist. But here you have Donald Trump, who's not taking any money to do this job.
No, he refuses the $450,000 salary. It's probably enough money to fill up his yacht. He turns it down.
Right.
But here's the
They're trying to break him.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing, people. Before my ex-wife comes after me with an axe. Here's the thing. Give me somebody who's 49 years old. Let me hear him talk. Republican or Democrat or independent. Doesn't matter to me. And let me say, wow, that guy really got his shit together. Holy wow, this guy's got great ideas. Wow, this guy wants to take the country here. Wow, this guy can do. Give me that guy and I'll vote for him.
Right.
But this is what you're giving me. This is what you're giving me. You're giving me a president that's either going to be removed by death or by incompetence. And when he does that, Kamala Harris is going to be the president of the United States. Kamala Harris being the president of the United States is like being in a spider web. And Russia and China are the two spiders that's going to crawl, eat her alive. And then the United States is no more. Or there's Donald Trump. That's the only thing they're giving us. That's the only thing they're giving us.
Yeah,
Those are the only choices.
Yeah, but the problem is when you talk to a lot of the people out there, they don't want to vote for Trump because he uses bad words. He's upsetting them. Upsetting them? Look at your fucking country, people. Upsetting? You should be upset about that. Upsetting because he talks rude to people? Are you shitting me? How much more do you have to take? You can't all be that stupid. I refuse to believe that the American people can be that stupid. I refuse. Maybe I just don't, I can't. Maybe I just keep saying to myself, I can't believe it. It's not true, it's not true, it's not true. Look, let me ask you a question. Well, I don't want to get religious. Maybe I do. You believe in Jesus Christ?
Absolutely.
Okay. Was he a Republican or Democrat?
Yeah, he's nothing.
And what was so bad about that?
He was nothing.
But yet they had to still crucify him, right?
Yeah.
Because he didn't pick their side to go on.
Right.
What do you think they're doing to this guy?
How about this? Since the beginning of time, since that time, how about this? When they asked him, "Are you the Son of God?" and he said, "I am." He didn't believe him.
Yeah, but if here's the thing, why ask him that question? They must have believed in God in order to ask him that.
Well, listen.
Or that there had to be a God.
You're getting deep with me now, Roman, because my knowledge is vast. To the point where there was a game show on TV. It was very brief. It didn't make it. It was a trivia show about the Bible. And at the time I was married, my wife's like, "You gotta go on that show." So Jesus Christ was in the Garden of Gethsemane. And he looked at Peter and he said, "Listen, I'm going to go over and pray by that tree. Keep an eye out, all right?" Because he knew the Romans were coming to get him. He said, "Keep an eye out for me," right? That's when he went back after he was praying and he looked down at Peter sleeping. He goes, "The will is strong, but the flesh is weak." So Jesus was scared beyond scared. It said that when he was praying in the Garden of Gethsemane, he was sweating blood. That's how scared he was. After praying, he said, "Okay."
But was
okay. He said okay because his purpose here, he was sent here to die for us. So he could never be let go. They could never understand him. They could never agree with him because God's message to the human race was, "I'm going to forgive you of your sins through the blood of my son." And that blood had to be shed.
Okay, so my question, when you said he was scared, all right, was he scared? And I want to answer this, okay? I'm just throwing it out there to everybody, food for thought. Was he scared because he was going to die?
Yeah.
Or was he scared because he knew the people?
No,
Was he scared for the people?
He was scared because he was going to die, because there was a human side of Christ. So he was scared that he was going to die, but the Holy Spirit hit him, and the Holy Spirit educated him. And he said, "Okay, I get it.
I get it.
All right, okay." And everything had to fall the way it did for the message. As everybody says, the good news. I have good news for you. Your sins are forgiven through Christ.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's the way that went there. But it's like, back to Donald Trump. I just heard him talk for an hour and 36 minutes. I was glued to it, and I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's my brain. I mean, listen, I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer, but he just makes sense to me. He just makes common sense. They go, "What's the first thing you're going to cut?" He goes, "Education." We have no right being in education. He goes, "Leave it to the states."
Yeah.
Leave the education budgets to the states. We have no reason being in it. So, he's got a lot of, and he said, and this is what he said about deportation. He goes, all of them. He goes, "Listen, if I have a beautiful Mexican mother with 2 kids, we're gonna sit down and talk to her. But these guys who have criminal records, they're bringing in fentanyl, they're killing our American citizens, they're gone."
Sending our children back so
This is what
they could traffic them.
Listen, listen. 35,000 children that came over the border are missing in sex trafficking. And they said, she specifically said to Donald Trump, "Are you going to get a task force to find these kids?" He goes, "Unfortunately, most of these kids are dead." He goes, "Number 2, they're sanctuary cities. Who knows these illegal immigrants better than the local police department?"
Right.
No one.
No.
He goes, "I don't have to put a task force together. I just have to enforce the local police department. They'll round them up."
Okay, and let me go on to something that you touched on. You talked about education and all the other things. The problem that and I'm only the people that are going to get mad when I say this, you're exactly who I'm talking to. The ignorant people out there, because of government, and they're relying on the government to do everything for them. Those are the ones that are voting these people in. These assholes into Congress, these assholes into the Senate, these assholes that are mayors. These are the people that are voting them in because they want them to do everything for them.
But we're different animals, Roma. We're different animals. We've gotten punished physically and mentally over and over and over and over. And we're the kind of people that stand in the corner after Apollo Creed gave that big right uppercut, grabbed those ropes and came up and went, come on, because we don't give up. These are the people that gave up. These are the people that said, I'll just sit home and get a check every month.
Right.
I'll get a free cell phone.
How can I beat the system?
How can I live off the system because I don't want to work. I'm too lazy. If I get a job, it's going to be for minimum wage. I make more money sitting home than we're talking about 27-year-old people.
Right.
We're not, Roman, we're not talking about people that hit retirement age.
No.
We're talking about ready, willing, and able people with strong backs that can work, that can
Correct.
go out and hustle.
Right. They're hustling, all right.
They'd rather sit home and get it for free.
And that's what the government of this government right now, that's what they want. That's why they want another 4 years. So that they can keep these people who just keep electing their kind.
He's not going to live another 4 years, and if he does...
It doesn't matter, he's not running the country now.
Yeah, but you know what?
You think he's in charge.
Do something for me. Do something for me. Say, listen, America, we apologize. Okay? You reelected Biden, and now it's 2027, and he's just a babbling idiot that eats ice cream all day. We have to bring in Barack Obama.
He's already in.
All right, okay, all right, I get it. Bring him in. I get it. Bring in Barack Obama. I get it. Terrific. Not a bad guy. He wasn't a bad president. You know what I mean? Listen, bring him in.
He wasn't
Fantastic.
a good one either.
Okay, but don't give me, because in my mind, what you're giving me is Kamala Harris, and she can't run this country.
She's, all joking aside, they'd have to impeach her immediately. She'd sell our country to either Russia or China, whoever the highest bidder is. You know what the highest bid would be? We're going to kill all of you, or we're going to kill everybody but you. That's going to be the one she'll bid it to, so that she saves her own ass. She's a babbling idiot. All she does is laugh. At everything she laughs.
Questions?
Holy God. All right, we're going to go to questions. Yeah. Here we go. And we're going to close the show with questions.
Yeah.
What was it like to be reunited with Jim Powers?
What's it like to be reunited with Jim Powers? Well, Mario was there. He saw. It was nice being reunited with Jim.
That was a fantastic weekend.
It was, right?
Yeah, it was really good. Jim's a really good guy.
Yep. I mean, he's come full circle. We had while we were talking, I had said about a couple different wrestlers that I ran into that have changed what I believe for the better. And I told him that, I was still an asshole. I didn't change at all. We had a good laugh about that. But
Kiss Roma on the cheek when you say goodbye. I can't be any more sincere than that.
Yeah.
What was it like working with Psycho Sid?
What's it like working with Psycho Sid? Did you work with Psycho Sid?
Did I work with him?
No, I worked with Psycho Sid. I shouldn't say I really worked with him. I traveled with him. Sid was a nice guy.
It reminds me of
to
Dr. D.
To me, Sid was a taller version of Dr. D.
Well, let me tell you
but
something,
he
Roman.
wasn't as tough as Dr. D.
Anybody's got to be a fool not to be good with you.
No,
because you'll kick him out of the car.
That's not true. Okay, maybe that's a little true, but it all depends on the person. But yeah, no, Sid was not as tough as Dr. D, not by any stretch of the imagination. A lot taller. He was always cordial. He was always nice with me when we traveled. At that time, I wasn't into Southern country music. But hearing it every day, traveling with those guys, I soon become fond of it.
I can't remember if I worked with him or not. I can't. I don't think I did.
Who were you most uncomfortable to work with in the ring?
Adrian Adonis.
Wow. Who are you most uncomfortable to work with in the ring?
Adrian Adonis.
Really, huh? Adrian, huh?
Yeah, I could. And the Nasty Boys. Yeah.
Wow. I don't. Wow. I honestly, I think maybe Steve Lombardi
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah.
Did you guys see Edge's spot off the cage where he broke his tibia?
No.
Jump off.
Did we
No.
see Edge?
Guys, before you ask questions, I don't know. I know Roma watches every now and then. I don't watch wrestling at all.
He's going to start
At
though,
all.
because I'm going to sit him down. I'm going to strap him in, and I'm going to put wrestling on until blood comes out of his ears, because he's got to. You know, we're gonna be doing this podcast. I'm gonna have to bring him up to speed as to what's going on in the world of wrestling, even though he doesn't like it.
I
He's
hate
gonna
it.
cuss me out. I'm gonna have to cover his mouth once in a while, tear the tape, give him something to drink, maybe a little food, and then he's gonna have to watch some more.
Food, I'll watch anything.
There
Go
you
ahead.
go. Give him a Snickers. He'll be fine.
Memories of SD's 85 Buick Sabre?
Wow, SD's 85.
Wait
Buick
a
Sabre.
minute. Time out. Who's asking that question?
Rick Howard.
Rick Howard. Wow. Yeah, you're shell shocked.
All right, is Rick on right now?
Yeah.
Ask Rick if he knows the Sweet Hansen story.
Oh, you guys.
Rick, do you know this? Do you know the Sweet Hansen story? Is that why you're asking?
We'll go to another question while we wait for the
Okay.
What were your interactions with Johnny Canine back in the day?
Johnny Canine, sir. What were your interactions
Who's
with?
that?
Wow.
I don't even know who that is.
Wow. Well, obviously it was a dog.
I don't know. I have no idea.
I've heard of his name. I don't recall him, though.
What's your opinion on Bobby Kennedy?
What's your opinion on Bobby Kennedy?
You know, listen, I like Bobby Kennedy a lot. And he's torn himself down so badly that I felt bad for him for even, God forgive me, but his voice is like nails to a chalkboard. I don't know what he's going to do about that.
Yeah, I think he wants to do the right thing.
I do too.
I just don't think he's going to get there.
No.
Just to follow up on Rick Howard.
Rick Howard, here we go.
I heard him mention it on Cheap Heat. I don't
Oh, you heard him mention it on GP. Oh, so he's coming in. You're trying to get something out of us over here.
So SD, that's when SD sparked me up to the business. Because people were talking Pig Latin in front of me, and I was going to Scranton or Wilkes-Barre or whatever. And SD asked me if I was going, and I said, yeah. And he said, meet me at Bartow Avenue. There was a huge shell station off the
I
exit.
always met him.
Right.
Yeah.
And I park at his house, and I get in this brand new Buick LeSabre, and we start hitting the road, and I'm looking, and I see there's like a little discoloration on his dashboard that I found kind of strange. And I said, SD, did the dashboard come like that? He goes, man, you know how people, and I really didn't, because I was just a kid. People throw coins in your back seat for good luck when you buy a new car. He goes, well, Sweet Hansen got in the car and he had masturbated and he finished on his dashboard. And that's what this discoloration was. Anyway, next question.
This is who the boys were, man.
Yeah.
Probably already had a similar one, but you were a pretty prominent jobber for McMahon. You must have been considered fairly reliable, but did you ever have a chance to be something more like an established guy?
Well, I begged for it. They wouldn't give it to me. So early on, this is even before Roma got there, I was in this East Bumble-ass town, and I decided to get mini bags of M&Ms. And when I went out to the ring, I threw him out to the crowd. And I thought maybe I can start promoting myself as the Eminem Kid. And then when I went to TV taping, Vince told me to not do that anymore because a fan can choke on an Eminem and he can get sued. So that was done. Then
Vince always had an answer to stop you from doing something.
Then I grabbed Vince one time. This is when I really made him mad. I told him I'd put the tool belt on and the hat, and I'd go out to the Super Mario music, and my finish was off the top rope, my legs spread and ass bumped the guy right on the chest. And he said he didn't want to pay Nintendo. And I said, why are you paying Marvel Comics? And he got hot and he walked away from me. Strongbow had to save me that night. I think that I was in a lot of trouble that night. So it got so ridiculous that I went up to Chief one night and I said, hey, Chief, first ring fatality, one payoff. I'll just die in a ring. You know, at some point I was just throwing anything at them, you know what I mean? So, yeah, I tried, but...
Dude, you weren't part of the bloodline.
No,
Power and Glory wasn't part of the bloodline.
Yeah, right. Yeah, listen, there's three things. You had to be...
You weren't gay.
You had to be bloodline. You had to be a freak. Like a Big John Stud.
This Pride Month, you could say gay. Huh?
Well, you had to be a freak, like a Big John Stud or an Ultimate Warrior, a guy like that, Bundy, One Man Gang, Andre, or you had to be gay. And I wasn't any of the three, so...
They wanted to make you gay, though, didn't they?
Yeah, but I said I'll just keep losing, thank you.
Yeah.
We got 3 left.
All right, last couple, and then we're bringing it home, kid.
Memories of Outback Jack. His push died like a draft beer, or fizzled out quicker than a draft beer.
Outback Jack. You want me to handle this one?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Well, Outback Jack, met him in Australia. He toured with us in Australia for a couple shows. They really liked him, thought he'd be a big star, bring him back. They were going to make him a big star. Outback Jack made the biggest mistake anybody can make. He tried to drink with Mr. Fuji. You don't invite yourself to drink with somebody and then go on to say that you're going to drink them under the table. That is not a good thing, especially with him. Needless to say, Outback Jack was found in his room, naked. All his clothes, let's just say, weren't smelling too well. And his gator ripped off his jacket, drooling out his mouth, half dead. Fortunate he didn't die. And he had come down in the Holiday Inn for breakfast naked. And they had to tell him to get out and go back to his room because he was still basically out of his mind from what he had been drinking and taking the night before. Then he proceeded to go on to come into TV in Pennsylvania, walked in with a 2x4 about this big, and made a threat. And when Afonseca stood up, told him that they were going to shove that 2x4 up his ass, he left, which was a great move. And I think he got on a plane, and basically he was back in Australia, never to be heard or seen again. So that's the Outback Jack story. I was there, full front, saw it all.
Just a jab at Mario. Scott Wilder says Mario should have thrown out Snickers instead of gotten over better.
Yeah.
And then, final question. Any stories about Sal Bellomo and his ring?
Salvatore Bellomo. You want to touch on him? You were friends with him, weren't you?
I was friends with Sal. I like Sal. Sal was a big deal in Italy. He was the big Bruno over there. But when he came here, he was just a mid-card guy. Good wrestler, good acrobatic guy. Cartwheels, drop kicks. I liked him. We traveled a lot together. He had a chip on his shoulder. I kind of was aggravated because he didn't like Roma. He didn't like Roma for the same reason why a lot of guys didn't have to like Roma, because his biceps were as straight as my forearm. I don't know. Listen, I didn't really start heavy lifting until the late '80s, but I don't think Bellomo ever touched a weight in his life. May he rest in peace. And he got fired because of his bad attitude. You know what I mean? And as far as the ring gear thing, he might vaguely remember a story I told on many podcasts that I called K&H and I ordered a pair of wrestling trunks that were the Italian flag.
Yep.
And I put them on in Poughkeepsie, and Sheik was going to the bathroom, and he went, Mancini, you wear Sheiky colors. And I go,
Sheiky's colors.
I go, no, Sheiky, it's the Italian flag. Hey, no, brother. The colors of the Sheiky. I go, no, Sheik, no, it's the Italian flag here. Pat, hey, Pat. I go, what are we in the second grade? And so Pat comes walking over. What's up? That's a Mancini. You wear the Sheiky colors. Yeah, you can't wear those. Okay.
The Italian flag colors.
Okay, so Pat walks away, Sheik walks away. I just ripped the trunks off, and Bellomo's just a couple people down from me, minding his own business, talking to somebody. I go, hey, Sal. He looked over at me. I whipped him right on his head. I said, here's a pair of trunks for you. He goes, you want money for? I go, just keep them. And the trunks were like $35.
I told Mario he should have just hung them on a flagpole.
Yeah, so it's like, well, yeah, they were that big. So yeah, yeah. I mean, Sal was okay, but I believe the story why he got fired is Chief asked him if a guy can ride with him, and he said no, I want to ride alone, and that goes against the commandments of the business. You always got to have somebody, traveling to the next town with you. And they brought him back in some sort of caveman kind of, I don't remember the gimmick.
Something like that.
Something like that. They brought him back for a little bit. But, I was talking to Sal several years ago on Facebook and stuff, Instant Messenger. We would talk and everything. But, unfortunately he got sick and he passed away. So.
Yeah. Wow.
So that's a wrap. Okay.
All right. Hey, listen, again, thank you, everybody. You know what we didn't mention today? Shame on you. Shame on me, too, but I didn't want to yell at myself. Roma Nation.
Mancini's Maniacs.
Mancini's Maniacs. Glad you all showed up. We should acknowledge you in the very beginning. Stephen Lee, always got a shout out to you. You're the man, brother. You'll always be the man. You're our hero here. Thank you, everybody. God bless. Be safe. Hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll see you next week.